My name is Scott Paskoff. I am 47 years old. I am a television development executive. I was the most valuable gangster of the Gutless Griffins. I lost 27.2 pounds and it changed my life. Couldn't be happier. And my journey's just begun. I started Gutless in August of 2020. I was at 195 pounds and my goal was to lose 25 pounds. By the end of the program, October 2020, I was down 27.2 pounds, 109% of my target weight. And my final weight was 167 pounds, 0.8.
Nice.
I'm currently 170 pounds.
And why'd you sign up?
I signed up for Gutless because at the ripe age of 47, I wasn't where I wanted to be health-wise or physically. I had a heart attack 1 year ago, October 11th, October 12th. It sort of crossed over midnight, the timing, October 11th, October 12th, 2019. And it scared the shit out of me, to be honest. My father passed away at 55. So I'm not too far from that. I'm 8 years away, 7.5. I got 2 young kids and a beautiful wife. I love my life, very happy in my marriage and love being a dad. You know, my kids deserve to have their dad there for, a long time, if not well into their 30s and 40s, and when they're, going to be married and starting their own families. So it really hit me hard when I had the heart attack, and I was about 200 pounds at that point. I might have been over 200. When I started Gutless, might have lost. I was probably down about 5 pounds, from the heart attack. So I just said, I need to make the changes. The changes that I have wanted to make, but just never did. The changes that I knew I had inside of me, but needed that push. So when I spoke to you for the first time after seeing Marteau, you see a lot of these ads and you're like, is that real? I don't know. That could be bullshit. The befores, the afters. But when you see somebody who you actually know do it, and then you get a testimonial from them that like, yes, it's legit, this works, and I did it, it changes the narrative for you, at least it did for me. So that's when we spoke, and I was like, I needed that. I think, as I've been saying from day one, I'm a doer. I like to walk the walk, not talk the talk, which I think a lot of people do. But when it came to like investing in my own health and physical, I just wasn't committing. At least I wasn't committing to where I knew that this would take me. So I needed that push, that motivation, that inspiration, and that support. Having that support system, which you've created in Gutless, was everything for me. And the accountability. I love the accountability. But when I was only accountable to myself, that's where I ran into problems. And I've been like that in my career too. When I'm accountable as a twin, married to a twin, when I'm accountable to somebody else, I'll always deliver. But I wasn't always that way with myself. And this program has taught me to be like that. So I needed that 8 weeks with everybody to establish that accountability for myself. And now I have it.
Yeah, thank you for that, man. That's a very powerful share. And you are a doer. So yeah, you said it. I mean, as strong as we are as individuals, we're never as strong as we are when we have a team. And that's kind of what you experience in Gutless. So what would you say are the most unique differentiators between Gutless and some of the other things that you've tried or programs that are out there? You're an executive producer, and you told me that you want to turn Gutless into a show because you believe in it so much. So what is it that you believe in, and why do you believe it's special?
Great. So as an executive producer who develops TV formats, competition shows, game shows, what I loved about Gutless, besides what it stands for, integrity, reliability, accountability, is the support, sort of the internal competitions that have been created. The idea that you're part of a team that's competing with other teams, or part of a pod, as you call them, that's competing with other teams, really keeps you motivated. You don't want to let your pod mates down. In my instance, I had Brendan and Sammy, who I still talk to, and we'll be friends now for life, which I love. So you don't want to let your pod mates down, and B, you don't want to, you want to beat the other teams. So right off the bat, what you've created was this, on a macro level, it's the idea that, you need to be accountable for your actions as an individual, but also as a teammate. And then, I don't want to use the word slyly, but like smartly, you sort of created these like competitions within the program that were there for you to partake in, but you didn't have to. You know, like the G Pod challenges. It was sort of like a subtle way to get people to compete with each other without sort of forcing it down their throat, but it worked. It was like you had these little tent poles that you want the individuals or the pods to achieve. But as a person like me, who's like, all right, if you're going to give me a challenge, I'm going to do it. I stuck with it and I really, bought in. And that's what I liked about it, because as a TV developer, executive producer, there were so many different ways to win or lose. And that makes great TV when you can create a format where you have a lot of good reveals. Who failed, who succeeded, who won, who lost, who gained weight this week, who lost weight this week. And you have multiple reveal moments like that. That's a TV show, tailor made. So that's what I loved about it, from a TV standpoint. But from a program standpoint, just as a guy looking to lose weight, it felt like it was very much on you, and sort of like you were subtly throwing out these sort of competitions or goals to achieve without making it, the A story essentially. And some guys did them and some guys did it, and that was okay. It wasn't like, you failed, you didn't do it. It was like, but if you did do it, you saw the results, and I like that. I like that a lot. I think it was really smart, because you were sort of like feeding information to us that we could ingest and then implement into our lives without making it sort of like mandatory. I think some guys, for me, it would have been different. I like when things are mandatory, but I think some guys probably would shy away from that because they would feel like, I'm being told what to do. Right. So I think smartly, you're just sort of feeding here's the information. If you want to take it and run with it and succeed, I'm gonna offer it to you all. And if you don't, well, then, that's on you. It's up to you as a person to take what I'm giving you and make it work. And it all sort of worked together, when I started seeing the results from doing the burpees or the diet that I was eating, I thought, well, that's great. There's a reason that, this program works, and Bryce, he's the master. So I should be listening.
And, this would have been a great class to film, because we had high drama. We had the Mitten Kittens drama.
Mm-hmm. True. When you get a bunch of people in a house, let's say, that drama is going to happen anyway.
Right.
But yeah, this would have been a great class to film. I think, it's fun. When we, the Griffins, became the Mittens, or the Mitten Kittens, I was like, that's not me, who's he talking to, but that's okay, because I was part of the group, and I accepted it as a group, but I knew that, if there's a weak link in this group, it certainly was not going to be me, which,
well, it actually caused you to step up your game and rise to more of a leadership position. So, and that's what it was intended to do. So if you didn't like it, even though you didn't feel that you were a part of the renaming of the Griffins to the Mitten Kittens, still your group. And because you're a guy with a high level of accountability, you feel the responsibility to help these guys step up their game, so the group would be renamed the Griffins, right? Because you're still a part of that, even though you weren't a contributor to the reason why that happened.
That's right.
So I love that.
I don't even think I said Mitten Kittens until maybe today. I probably never even uttered those two words out of my mouth until
I love it.
It was like, oh wait, now that I think about it, I guess I was part of the Mitten Kittens, but I was, and by the way, when I started this thing, the MVG, as you called it, or the MVP of the group, was never my goal at all. I just never thought, well, not that I couldn't be, that's not even part of my thinking, but I just didn't, it wasn't like why I joined. I'm glad to have been named the MVG, but my goal in posting every day or working out as much as I did or hitting my targets was only because, when you asked if I was a 10 out of 10, I said, I'm a 10 out of 10. And I was committed to that. And that's what being a doer is versus a talker. So to win that award or accolade or whatever you want to call it, or just, get that title, was just cherry on top. It was never the intent. And there's some good competition in there. There were some guys, watching Michael, watching Richmond, he was really impressive, even though he sort of fell out and came back in. Having Lito and, some of these NFLers in there, I was like, this is a group of studs. Yeah. So if I could rise to the top in that group, feel pretty good about that.
Yeah. You were the MVG, the most valuable gangster, because of your reliability and your commitment to the cause. And there were other guys like Mike Katz who put forth a hell of a performance, but he did have his moments where he disappeared a little bit. Not too many, but you were extremely consistent throughout the challenge. So, in addition to losing 27 out of 25 pounds, hitting 100% plus of your goal, your G target, you also had that Mamba mentality and the consistency, the reliability that we like to see, that we know is critical for long-term success, and then also bringing the group up.
Cool.
So hats off to you there. And that's the real reward, is keeping the weight off and feeling as great as you do right now. And then also the way that impacts your relationships in your personal life. You sent me that text, one of your friends had messaged you about your mindset and how beneficial that's been in his life. And that seems to be pervasive throughout, just kind of your existence in general. But there's always room to improve. And as good as we are at giving advice, sometimes we're not so good at following our own advice. So it seems like you may have been one of those guys in that before Gutless, this is one corner of your life where you weren't really taking your mentality and applying it to weight loss and keeping yourself alive, even though you were applying it to your friendships and your relationship with your family, showing up consistently for your people. You weren't always showing up consistently for yourself.
That's right.
So now you're doing that.
Now I am. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who would you recommend this to? Obviously, Gutless isn't for everybody. Who do you think would be a good fit for Gutless?
Specifically or generically?
I would say specifically. Let's get real.
Yeah. I mean, in my world, I have a ton of friends who I think would be great for Gutless.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So generically, let's go.
Yeah. I think guys who are established in their lives, probably with families, who have children. I think people that are selfless, to be honest, I think is important too. I did it for me, but I really did it for my family. I want to be there for them. Guys who are, successful, but need that extra push to become, the man or the men that they want to be or think they are. I think guys that are overweight and having trouble dropping that weight, especially during COVID right now. I have a lot of friends who packed on a few extra lbs. I think guys in their 40s who are getting closer to, let's say, midlife, but also potential statistics like heart attack victims like myself. I think this program is perfect for them because I am a walking success story from it. I have more energy and I have a different outlook on life. My confidence was never an issue, but it's just now elevated. It's more the energy, things that I might have been putting off personally or professionally. I'm tackling more and more. Somebody in their mid-40s is the perfect age group for this. And, I'd say 30s too. I probably could have benefited from, back when I was single. But when you start having kids and when you start, working a lot and you start, making other things in your life priority other than yourself, is when you have to sort of take a step back and say, what do I need to do for me that will benefit them as well? I think that's the perfect candidate for this. So I don't want to say single guys shouldn't be doing it, but I think a lot of dads that have kids and want to be a good example for them, which I certainly do for mine, are guys that should be doing this for sure. And I think a lot of the guys in the group were dads with young kids. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, one of the deeper reasons why we do the work is posterity and future generations and keeping dads alive so their kids don't grow up in a fatherless home, and setting that example for their children in diet and mentality and routine, exercise. See Bob Donlin with his 3 little boys saying 5 fingers fist, and they've got all the little Gutless taglines. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the deeper motivation for why I do the work is it impacting households, and so it impacts your life, it impacts your relationship with your wife and your kids and all your relationships. Everybody within your sphere of influence is impacted by you showing up at your best. And if you're not at your best, then they feel that. I'm glad that you're still here on this planet and you found Gutless when you did. Congrats, man. The MBG, 27 pounds down, Mamba mentality.
I got more to go. I'm gonna get to 160.
Okay.
It'll take me a little bit longer, but I'll get there.
Yeah. So we'll do that in bravado. We'll be there to support you.
Good.
So
I've been posting a lot. I didn't post today.
yeah, it's all right. That's all right. We'll pick it up. You'll see me start to pick it up too. I mean, I'm taking a little bit of downtime myself between classes, but
When's the next? So you have a class going right now?
yeah, November 1st is when we start up again. So now I'm in recruitment mode.
Okay. So all the guys that you got now will be November 1st.
Yeah.
So my buddy, I have another buddy who he's having a kid any day now, and he's like, it's going to be hard for me to start, with a kid. I was like, you're making excuses, but definitely come January, when that next one is. His name is Matt Geller. I'm recruiting already for your next one because I know he won't be able to commit right now the way you need him to, and the way I would want him to, and the way he would want to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's fair.
Yep.
All right, the last thing I'll have you say is I am Scott Paskoff, the motherfucking most valuable gangster. I lost 27 pounds in 8 weeks and then 5 fingers like this. All right, so your name, most valuable gangster.
Yep.
I lost 27 pounds with Gutless in 8 weeks, and then 5 fingers makes a fist.
I am Scott Paskoff. I was the most valuable gangster of the Gutless Griffins. I lost 27.2 pounds, and it changed my life. Couldn't be happier, and my journey's just begun. 5 fingers up, make a fist. Let's go.
Let's go.
Keep that mama mentality, guys. Strive to be better.
Thank you, Scott. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll finish the combo.
Cool.